Welcome back to Top 5. In the neon-lit streets of New York City, a rift in dimensions opened, heralding the arrival of the Power Rangers. Emerging from the dimensional tear, clad in their iconic colors, red, blue, pink, black, and yellow, they prepared to defend their world from a looming threat. However, this disturbance did not go unnoticed. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, always ready to protect their turf, felt the surge of energy and swiftly moved to investigate. As the two teams crossed paths in an abandoned warehouse, the atmosphere crackled with tension. The Turtles, armed with their signature weapons and years of training in ninjutsu, faced off against the fully equipped Power Rangers, who were not only masters of martial arts but also had access to advanced technology, including their morphers and an arsenal of gadgets. "Who are you supposed to be?" Leonardo, the leader of the Turtles, asked, gripping his katana tightly, his eyes narrowed in determination. "We're the Power Rangers, and we're here to stop whatever evil is brewing in this city," replied Jason, the Red Ranger, stepping forward with unwavering confidence. "We don't want any trouble, but we'll do what it takes to protect the innocent." "Evil? We don't have time for that nonsense," Donatello interjected, adjusting his bow staff. "We're just trying to keep our home safe." But words quickly faded into tension as the two factions realized they were on a collision course. The rift had unleashed a dark force, and the only way to close it was through a battle to the death, ignited by a misunderstanding. With a fierce battle cry, Leonardo charged at Jason, their swords clashing in a shower of sparks. The Red Ranger parried with his power morpher, using it to amplify his strength. Their combat was fierce, each strike met with a counter, as the two leaders pushed each other to their limits. Meanwhile, Michelangelo and Tommy, the Green Ranger, found themselves in a whirlwind of kicks and flips. Mikey brandished his nunchaku with flair, spinning them in a dazzling display. "You think you can take me down, dude?" he quipped, dodging a high kick from Tommy. "Not a chance," Tommy replied, using the dragon dagger to enhance his attacks. He unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, forcing Mikey to evade deftly. The two combatants danced around the warehouse, each maneuver more spectacular than the last, both refusing to give an inch. Raphael, fueled by his fiery temper, squared off against the Blue Ranger, Billy. Their blows echoed through the warehouse, a symphony of martial prowess. "You're not gonna take my city," Raphael shouted, throwing a series of punches that Billy narrowly blocked. The Blue Ranger retaliated with a spinning kick, but Raphael countered with a brutal elbow strike, causing Billy to stumble back. "Impressive," Billy gasped, determination lighting his eyes. He activated his power morpher, calling forth a surge of energy that enhanced his speed. "But I'm just getting started." With newfound agility, he launched a rapid series of strikes, testing Raphael's defenses. On the other side of the warehouse, Donatello found himself facing Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. "We can end this without violence," he urged, trying to reason with her. But Kimberly, agile and fierce, leaped into action, executing a series of acrobatic kicks. "Sorry, but we can't let you win," she shouted, her determination unwavering. Donatello fought back, using his intellect and agility to keep pace with her. He swung his bow staff, creating distance, but Kimberly was relentless, flipping over him and landing a solid kick to his shoulder. As the fight raged on, the stakes grew higher. Each member of the Turtle team showcased their skills, from Leonardo's precision to Raphael's brute strength. The Rangers unleashed their unique powers, calling upon their Zords in a desperate attempt to overpower their foes. Jason summoned the power of the Tyrannosaurus, channeling it into his punches, while Tommy harnessed the Dragonzord's strength in his kicks. In a climactic moment, Leonardo and Jason found themselves locked in a duel, each struggling to gain the upper hand. Their swords clashed, a symphony of steel that echoed through the warehouse. Just as Leonardo gained an advantage, Jason activated his power morpher, channeling energy into a powerful strike that sent the Turtles' leader crashing into a wall. The warehouse was a battlefield of chaos and movement, filled with the sounds of clashing metal, grunts, and the occasional shattering of debris. The Turtles fought as if their lives depended on it, and so did the Rangers. Each member of both teams was pushed to their limits, sweat and determination driving them forward. Mikey and Tommy continued their heated exchange, spinning and dodging with acrobatic finesse. "You're not bad, green guy, but I'm not going down easily," Mikey shouted, using his nunchaku to deflect a low kick. Just as Tommy seemed to gain the upper hand, Mikey spun low, sweeping Tommy off his feet and landing a solid strike. "Nice move." Tommy grinned, recovering quickly and launching into a series of kicks, each one met with Mikey's quick reflexes. The two pushed each other to their limits, neither willing to yield. As Raphael grappled with Billy, their fight took on an intense, personal nature. "You're strong, but I'm stronger," Raphael growled, his fists flying as he threw powerful strikes. Billy countered with a flurry of quick jabs, using his agility to dodge Raphael's heavier blows. "Let's see how you handle this," Billy shouted, activating a gadget from his belt that enhanced his speed. With renewed vigor, he unleashed a rapid series of strikes that forced Raphael to defend with all his might. The tension in the air was palpable as they battled, each one refusing to back down. Meanwhile, Donatello and Kimberly continued their intense standoff. "You're a tough fighter, but I won't give up," Donatello exclaimed, attempting to outmaneuver her. He swung his bow staff, creating a barrier that allowed him to counter her swift kicks. But Kimberly was relentless, executing a series of impressive flips that kept Donatello on the defensive. As the battle reached its peak, the Turtles found themselves on the brink of exhaustion, but they refused to yield. Leonardo, rallying his brothers, shouted, "We need to work together. Let's finish this." With a surge of determination, the Turtles coordinated their attacks, combining their strengths in a final push. Leonardo and Raphael teamed up against Jason, while Mikey and Donatello took on Tommy and Kimberly. The warehouse echoed with the sounds of their fierce battle, each fighter fully committed to their cause. Just when it seemed that the Turtles were gaining the upper hand, Jason called upon the full power of the Rangers. "Rangers, unite," he bellowed, activating their morphers in unison. Energy surged around them, enhancing their abilities and turning the tide of battle. The Turtles fought fiercely, but the Rangers, empowered by their teamwork, unleashed a barrage of attacks that pushed the Turtles to their limits. In a thrilling exchange, Leonardo and Jason clashed again, the force of their strikes shaking the warehouse. Just as it seemed one would fall, they pushed back with equal ferocity. As the battle raged on, the rift in the warehouse began to pulsate with energy, casting an eerie glow. The Turtles realized that their fight was not just about defeating the Rangers but also about sealing the rift. In a moment of clarity, Donatello shouted, "We need to work together to close that rift. It's the only way to stop this chaos." The Rangers paused, hearing Donatello's plea. "What do you mean?" Kimberly shouted, momentarily distracted from the fight. "The rift is unstable. If we don't close it together, it will consume us all," Donatello explained, his eyes scanning the chaotic scene around them. For a brief moment, both teams hesitated, the realization of their shared goal dawning upon them. But the tension remained thick as both sides weighed their options. "Fine, but we'll only work together if you promise to back off once this is over," Jason declared, his voice firm. "Deal," Leonardo replied, still wary but recognizing the urgency. The Turtles and Rangers regrouped, momentarily setting aside their differences. They focused their combined energy on the rift, forming a circle around it. Together, they channeled their powers, Leonardo and Jason, Mikey and Tommy, Donatello and Billy, Raphael and Kimberly, each pairing working in sync. As they concentrated, the rift began to stabilize, glowing with blinding energy. "We can do this. Keep pushing," Leonardo shouted, gritting his teeth as he felt the energy surge through him. But just as it seemed they were making progress, the rift erupted with a violent burst of dark energy, sending shockwaves through the warehouse. The blast knocked everyone off their feet, scattering the turtles and rangers across the floor. Struggling to stand, the turtles regrouped, determination etched on their faces. "We can't let this thing win," Leonardo shouted, rallying his brothers. "We need to take them down and stop this." As the rangers regained their footing, Jason glared at the turtles, his resolve unwavering. "We finish this now. Rangers, let's go." With renewed energy, the fight resumed. The turtles and rangers clashed once more, each team pushing the other to their limits. Title: Turtles vs. Rangers, The Final Showdown, continued. The clang of steel echoed through the warehouse as Leonardo and Jason fought fiercely, their swords clashing with the intensity of a thunderstorm. Each strike was met with a counter, each maneuver a display of skill that showcased their dedication to their respective teams. Leonardo's precise strikes aimed to incapacitate, while Jason's movements were fueled by the power of the Tyrannosaurus, enhancing his strength. "Is that all you've got?" Jason taunted, sweat glistening on his brow as he parried Leonardo's strike and pushed him back with a powerful kick. "Not even close," Leonardo shouted back, determination burning in his eyes. He lunged forward, executing a series of rapid slashes, forcing Jason to deflect and evade. Their duel was a dance of skill and strength, neither willing to give an inch. Meanwhile, Mikey and Tommy continued their acrobatic battle in a flurry of kicks and flips. "You're pretty good, green guy, but I've got tricks up my sleeve," Mikey exclaimed, spinning his nunchaku and launching a surprise attack that sent Tommy stumbling back. "Nice move." Tommy grinned, recovering quickly. "But let's see how you handle this." He activated his dragon dagger, unleashing a wave of energy blasts that Mikey narrowly dodged. The nunchaku-wielding turtle flipped and twirled, using his agility to stay one step ahead of the attacks. On the other side of the warehouse, Raphael was locked in a fierce struggle against Billy. The Blue Ranger was quick on his feet, dodging Raphael's powerful punches and countering with swift kicks. "You're strong, but I've got brains to match," Billy shouted, using his intelligence and agility to gain an advantage. "Brains won't help you when you're down," Raphael growled, channeling his rage into a powerful series of strikes. He swung his sai with precision, landing a few solid hits that forced Billy back. Just as Billy was about to regain his footing, Donatello joined the fray, swinging his bow staff to knock Billy off balance. "We're not done yet," Donatello shouted, his eyes focused as he worked in tandem with Raphael. Together, they launched a coordinated attack that overwhelmed Billy, pushing him toward the edge of defeat. "Come on, Billy. Get up," Jason shouted, his voice strained as he continued to battle Leonardo. The Red Ranger was struggling to maintain his footing against the relentless assault of the Turtles' leader. As the fight raged on, Kimberly faced off against Donatello. Utilizing her agility, she executed a series of impressive flips, landing swift kicks that Donatello struggled to counter. "You're not getting past me," she exclaimed, determined to protect her teammates. "Just let me reason with you," Donatello yelled, narrowly avoiding a spinning kick. He swung his bow staff again to create distance, then shifted tactics and started using his technological gadgets to gain an edge. He activated a smoke bomb, clouding the area around them, hoping to catch Kimberly off guard. The warehouse was a whirlwind of chaos, energy, and determination. Each team was pushed to their limits, sweat dripping from their brows as they fought fiercely for their survival. The sounds of clashing weapons and grunts of effort filled the space, creating a symphony of conflict. Suddenly, the rift pulsed ominously, its energy growing unstable as the battle escalated. We need to focus. The rift is going to explode. Donatello shouted, realizing that their fight was only exacerbating the danger. As the turtles and rangers grappled with each other, their mutual resolve began to waver. Leonardo, sensing the urgency, shouted, "We need to finish this quickly. Together." In that moment of clarity, the turtles and rangers exchanged glances, understanding that they were both fighting against a greater threat. "Let's end this," Jason declared, raising his morpher high. Rangers, together. With renewed determination, the rangers summoned their combined powers, channeling their energy into a single, powerful strike aimed at Leonardo. The turtles, realizing what was happening, prepared to counter. Leonardo raised his katana, ready to defend, but Jason and the rangers unleashed a spectacular attack. "Power Blaster, fire," they shouted in unison, sending a massive wave of energy toward Leonardo. But the turtles weren't about to back down. "Turtle power!" Leonardo yelled, calling upon his brothers to join forces. The turtles combined their strength, channeling their energy into a powerful defensive maneuver. As the two forces collided, the warehouse shook violently, and the light of the explosion illuminated the entire area. The impact sent shockwaves through the building, causing debris to rain down and forcing both teams to brace themselves against the onslaught. When the dust settled, both teams found themselves scattered, struggling to recover from the blast. Leonardo lay on the ground, his katana slipping from his grip, while Jason struggled to rise, his morpher cracked and sparking. "Is everyone okay?" Kimberly called out, checking on her teammates while wincing at the pain in her side. "Barely," Billy replied, getting to his feet. "But we need to regroup." That explosion destabilized the rift. As they looked around, the reality of their situation set in. The turtles were battered, but they were not defeated. Leonardo pushed himself up, determination etched on his face. "We can't let this rift win. We need to close it now." With the warehouse still trembling, both teams faced the glowing rift. They knew that the only way to protect their worlds was to unite, but the earlier battle had taken its toll. The air crackled with tension as they prepared for one final confrontation. "Are we really going to work together after everything?" Jason asked, eyeing the turtles warily. "We don't have a choice," Leonardo replied, his voice steady. "If we don't close that rift, we'll all lose." With a reluctant nod, Jason raised his morpher, and the rangers formed a line. The turtles, equally resolute, positioned themselves beside them. "Let's finish this," Leonardo shouted. Together, the rangers echoed. Channeling their combined energies, the teams focused their powers on the rift. A brilliant light enveloped them as they directed their strength toward the swirling chaos. The rift began to pulse and tremble, but they could feel it resisting. "Push harder," Donatello yelled, straining against the energy surge. With one final, collective effort, they unleashed a wave of energy that struck the rift with tremendous force. The rift shuddered violently, and in a blinding flash, it imploded, sealing itself completely. As the light faded, silence fell over the warehouse. Both teams stood panting, the weight of their battle heavy in the air. But the victory was bittersweet. "Is it over?" Mikey asked, looking around at the destruction. "Yeah, but we lost," Raphael said, his voice low. The turtles were battered and bruised, but they had emerged victorious over the rangers, who were now defeated and vulnerable. With lingering tension, Jason struggled to stand, looking at the turtles. "You fought well. But we were just trying to protect our world too," he said, his voice filled with a mix of respect and defeat. Leonardo stepped forward, extending a hand to Jason. "We all have our battles to fight. But next time, let's find a way to work together from the start." Jason looked at the outstretched hand, hesitating for a moment before taking it. "Deal," he replied, acknowledging the rivalry that had turned into respect. As the turtles prepared to leave, they glanced back at the fallen Rangers. "Stay safe out there," Leonardo said, his voice resolute. "Next time, let's hope we're on the same side." With that, the turtles vanished into the shadows of the night, leaving the Power Rangers to reflect on the battle lost and the lessons learned. The warehouse remained silent, a testament to the fierce showdown between two legendary teams. One emerged victorious, and the other left to contemplate their next move.